Hey guys, will you continue to see prices falling now through the first few months of the year? Where do you think the market is headed, and what does rock bottom look like?
Yeah, we're going to continue to see the higher end of the market is going to continue to fall because there's just not demand for. And I see in the comments all the time, people say, yes, there's demand there, but the prices are just too high. No, I mean, that's not how demand works. The prices are too high, causing the demand for the current market to be low, and there has to be kind of a tipping point where, okay, demand has to come up because prices are coming down. And then you find that middle ground. And we're nowhere close to that right now, especially with these interest rates. And where do I think the market is headed? So it's just going to be a continuous downtrend from here on. And what does the bottom look like? I think to actually find a bottom and to find a bottom in the next year and a half, you're going to have some massive economic event, whether it's this repo crisis that we're starting to see right now. If that actually hits mainstream economy, where banks are actually taking more hits than they thought that they were going to take, something like that could make prices actually plummet. And if you get that and you get a bad economic situation, you're gonna have a lot of dealers going out of business. And something like that, if you take buyers from these auctions out of the system, then that could give you a whoosh down. And that's what a bottom would look like. If we had some kind of lending event, it's not going to be as bad as 2008, but something similar to 2008 within the car industry. We're seeing cracks in the system, so I'm not ruling it out. I'm not predicting that it's going to be that bad in the car market, but there's a lot of bad that's in the car market right now from these loans, all the negative equity that's in the system, and it's you could see a possibility of some kind of crash, some kind of big whoosh down because the lending practices were so bad over the last 2 years. And that's what you would look for if you were looking for some kind of bottom. Some big lending institution is going to have to get hammered and possibly go under because of bad loans that they actually wrote.
I want to have a trusted mechanic look at a used car from a dealer. What's a reasonable general time to ask the dealer to give the mechanic to look at the car?
I can tell you what we do. I don't know what's, and we give people really as much time as they want. And if they've got a mechanic that's like an hour away or something, then we'll just let them take the car. I would say like 3-4 hours is the most that we want to give a customer. But I mean, if they call us while they're at the mechanic's backed up, then we give them leeway. But reasonable is you want to hopefully have a mechanic that's within an hour of the dealership that you're looking at. We'll say an hour time to drive, get everything set up, an hour for the mechanic to check it out, and then an hour to come back. That's probably the maximum amount of time that a dealer is going to want their car to be checked out and out for you to get it checked out. So 3 hours tops, but if you can make it less than that, then the dealer is going to feel better about it because the dealer doesn't have to let you get it checked out. They can write you a test drive form that says you can only test drive this car for 30 minutes and you're not going to get that car checked out within 30 minutes. You probably have to work with the dealer, let them know where the mechanic shop is, let them know exactly where you're taking the car. And it's all going to be dealer specific because there might be dealers like us. We're like, yes, please go get the car checked out. Know what you're getting into. I don't care where your mechanic is. Just go get it checked out just so you know what you're buying before you're buying it. Most dealers are not like us, but there are other dealers out there that will let you do that. And that's the kind of dealer that I want you to find. I will tell you that if there's a dealer out there that you're looking at the car and they just are absolutely no, I'm not going to let you get the car checked out, that's not a dealership I want to shop at. Now, new car dealers, they're not going to let you do that. And you're not going to have to get a new car checked out. It's a brand new car, or even a car really that's a year, 2 years old that has almost no miles on it. You're probably not going to need to get that checked out. I still would like you to get it checked out if at all possible, but it's not as necessary if you're buying something that's 5-10 years old. If there's a dealership out there that you're looking at this range and they're not going to allow you to get this car checked out by your mechanic, that's not a dealership I want to shop at, and I'll go find somewhere else.
Philip asked, what do you think the car market will look like at the end of this year, looking to buy a newer car by the end of this year?
The end of this year will be better than it is right now. And what my belief is that the car market is just going to continue this slow trend down. There's not going to be any whoosh. There's not going to be a crash. I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think we're just going to continue to trend down throughout the course of the year. There's nothing that's going to happen this year that's going to make the economy any better. And the Fed's not going to lower rates as much as it could to make car prices go up or down in any meaningful way. So I just think slow grind down. So the longer you wait on a new vehicle, the better the price is going to be. So if you can wait till the end of the year to buy a new car, it's going to be significantly better environment for you to buy than it is today.
Should I wait a little more for used car prices to go down? And is a dealership a safer bet than private sale?
Yeah, I mean, my motto has been for the last year and a half. Actually, I haven't even been on YouTube for a year and a half. The last year that I've been on YouTube, wait. Because if you've listened to me any time during my YouTube journey, if you've listened to me and you've waited, even if you've already bought a car, but you waited about 6 months, car prices have been better from this time frame to this time frame whenever I've said wait. I've always been right about it, and I'm going to continue to be right about it until I'm not, obviously. But as we're going on, dealers are getting more inventory. That means prices are going to continue to come down. And I mean, I know I get comments all the time saying, you keep saying this, but prices aren't coming. Yes, they're down. Look at where the prices were and where they are now. They're down like used car prices are down like 15, 20% from where they were peaking. When we started this YouTube channel, you couldn't find a car without a dealer markup, a dealer adjustment. Now you can find cars under MSRP. I'm right. I've been right this whole time. And you people in the comments keep saying that I'm not seeing car prices come down. Just look at it. Go outside and look. And prices are down. And if you've listened to me, then anywhere you've bought along the way, if you've waited any amount of time, you've been able to get a better price than you were had you bought a car a year ago. So I'm going to continue to be right about this. Prices are going to continue to come down. It's not going to be as fast as you want it to, but prices will continue to go down from here.
And when he says step outside and look, he means potentially, I hope, step out of maybe where you're checking your cars if you're not seeing the prices come down, because not every dealership...
Step out of your butt.
Stop it.
Yes.
All right. Not every dealership there's no rule these dealerships have to follow. Some of them will hold, and if there's not a lot of competition around, then they may not feel like they need to lower the prices. But there are absolutely many places where that's happening. And I mean, if you just spend some time looking even online, you're going to be able to track some of that.
Yeah. I mean, you should look at you can look at retail data that's being put out. Cars are being sold for less now than they were 6 months ago. CarMax just released their earnings. They have decreased their prices. I think it was like by $1,200, $1,500 per car. They had to do that because prices are coming down. Yes, prices are coming down.
Is a dealership a safer bet than private sale? Yeah,
it's safer. It's safer to buy from a dealership than it is to buy from a private seller, because dealers, for the most part, have to have guidelines. They have laws that they have to follow. I will say that, I mean, you're paying for that safety when you go to a dealership. I would prefer you buy from an individual, do your homework, make sure you're doing it in a safe location, make sure you get checked out by a mechanic. You can get a better deal if you buy from an individual. The other thing, too, with buying from an individual is you can know the history on that car. Dealership, I'm buying cars from auctions. I don't know how that car was maintained before I buy it. I know what we do from the time we buy it to the time we sell it, but we might have a car for 4 days from when we buy it to when we sell it. That's going to tell you nothing about the history of the car, the maintenance of the car. But if you buy from an individual, you can actually get that information from them. You're going to be able to see their records. You're going to be able to see repair bills. You're going to be able to see at what interval they change the oil. You're going to be able to see how they live, what their other cars look like. That's the kind of thing that you get when you're buying from an individual. But it can be dangerous out there, and people lie. Not saying dealers don't lie, but people also lie, and they're not going to be held to any kind of standard. So if there's a mess up on the title, on the paperwork, you might not ever see that person again. Where a dealership has a static location, if there's something wrong with the paperwork, you can go back to that dealership and get it fixed. And if you can't get it fixed by them, you can go to whatever the DMV that's the authority in that area, and that DMV will make sure that you get that problem fixed. But there's nothing that's governing these individuals. And if they sell you something that's junk, if they sell you something that has bad title work, if they sell you something that's stolen, you're going to be out of the money, and you have more safety when you're buying from a dealer, but you're going to pay an extra price, a greater price for that safety. So you might be watching this and not even know this, but this is a brand new channel. So if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it would really, really help me out.
Okay. What are some of the criteria or checklist items you inspect on a vehicle in the short time given at the auction?
Yeah, so we don't have a ton of time. We usually go about 2 hours before the auction. Now on this, and the bigger auctions, we have to spend more time, but the smaller ones will say we've got 150, 200 cars we need to look through. So we need to spend about a minute and a half, 2 minutes max on each car. So we have to just do basically a speed run on these cars when we're checking them. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open the hood, look at the oil. That's first thing, because that can tell us so much about the car, and it's an easy binary response. If it's milky, then we don't want it. We just walk on to the next one. So that's the first thing we check. Make sure there's oil actually in the car. And then we'll look around under the hood, make sure there's no severe leaks that we can tell. Make sure there's no starting of any rust on like the top of the struts, any the heat shield, anything like that, that's going to give us some kind of hint that it's been in some salt. And then we can look under the frame if we see that there's signs of it there. And then we get into the car. We'll turn it on, listen to make sure there's no crazy sounds, anything that shouldn't be there. We'll put the car in drive, put the car in reverse, make sure it doesn't clunk, make sure the transmission doesn't have a high-pitched whine, something like that. We will, depending on the season, check the heat or the AC. We will make sure the front two windows work because the regulators, they're expensive for the window motors. And we'll crank on the steering wheel, make sure power and steering's good. And then after all that stuff's checked, then we'll hook it up with our scanner, and then our code reader will read the motor and the transmission and throw us back any kind of problem codes that we don't want to see. And if we see anything, we won't buy it. But if it checks out from our scanner after that, then we'll write it down on our list, and we'll me and Alex are pretty good about knowing how much we can sell a car for and what kind of work we're going to have to put into it. So we'll know exactly the amount that we can go up to on the car. But if all those things are checked off, then we'll put an amount down that we know we want to pay for it. And that's a car that we will bid on. Is that good enough?
I wasn't listening. I'm going to be honest with you. I was reading.